All right, everybody. It's 5 o'clock. It's Friday. This is Carrie.
Hello.
We're hard at laughing. Yeah, so another 5 minutes. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, anytime.
Gonna have fun?
Lots
All
of
right.
fun. Always.
So I put the message out that we were going to be talking about lawyer movies and lawyer TV shows this week. And as I was talking about some of them, Carrie was like, you know what, I've never even seen that. So she's had a special assignment this week to catch up on a couple of shows, or a couple of movies and one TV show.
It was hard work.
And so we're going to comment on those things today. Before we start, so I said, I think the way that this was billed, first of all, this is not going to be 5 minutes. We've already tried talking about
not.
this. This is not going to be 5 minutes. I may even need to change the name of the show just because it's not going to be 5 minutes. But so this was billed as the best lawyer TV shows and movies and why you need to watch them. The American Bar Association actually put out a list, oddly enough, of the greatest legal films and the greatest legal TV shows. And so Carrie and I were talking about these this morning, and I would ask her about them, and her reactions were so good that I had to stop and say, we're not gonna keep talking about this because you just need to be on the show so that you can give these reactions,
My honest reaction
to other people. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of these, and then I'm going to talk about the ones that I wanted to talk about. But before we start, I'm not going to talk about movies and TV shows that are over 30 years old because there's no sense in that. I haven't seen them. I don't want to see them. You know what I feel like with movies that are that old?
What?
I feel the same way as I do like about the Beatles.
What is that?
I just don't get it. Like, they may be good, but I'm not interested.
I am not on that same page.
So, things like, all right, here we go. This is a shocker. To Kill a Mockingbird is number one. And I've read the book when I was in high school, and I've seen parts of the movie, but I haven't seen the whole movie, and I'm not going to watch the whole movie because it's old.
I've never seen the movie, never read the book, don't care to.
Well, we're on the same page then. But so we're not going to talk about To Kill a Mockingbird. I will give an honorable mention though, in honor of my Uncle Ralph, who one of his favorite movies was 12 Angry Men. That's a movie about, it's a jury trial, and the entire movie takes place in the jury deliberations, and it goes from basically everybody, all but one, wanting to convict, and then that one, spoiler alert, that one starts convincing the others one by one until all 12 of them agree on the verdict. So number 3 though is My Cousin Vinny, which you watched.
I have watched now.
Okay, so before we run through the rest of these, let's get your, having just recently watched it and having been in criminal defense now for over 3 years, what did you think of My Cousin Vinny?
I enjoyed it. It was funny. I get that it probably was hard for him to represent somebody that he knew was innocent, also being his family. But, it was a lighthearted and funny movie. And
was there anything about the movie that reminded you of anything that we do?
No.
Not really?
No.
Yeah. Not a whole lot.
No.
But oddly enough, I would guess that of all the movies on this list that lawyers are familiar with and that lawyers talk about, we probably quote My Cousin Vinny more amongst ourselves. Like when I'm in court and speaking with other attorneys, we probably quote or reference My Cousin Vinny more than anything.
I can see that.
So, for whatever, even though it's not really, there's not a whole lot about My Cousin Vinny that has a lot to do with anything that we do. We do bring it up a lot. Let's see. Anything else about My Cousin Vinny?
No, not
Okay.
anything else.
All right.
That's good though.
All right. Let's see. The last 30 years. Philadelphia. Have you seen
I
Philadelphia?
have not seen Philadelphia.
It's got Denzel Washington and Tom Hanks.
Sounds like it would be good.
So it would be good. It is. It's actually very good. Of all the movies on this list, Philadelphia is the one that has made me cry.
I was gonna say, I thought I had seen that you said that, so now I really want to watch it.
So it's it's a good one. And you know what? Looking through when I put the post online, we had some comments on the post for our page, and then also on my page. And Philadelphia was brought up one time. My Cousin Vinny was 7. So My Cousin Vinny was the second most mentioned on my page when we brought that up. So some others that they brought up were A Time to Kill, A Few Good Men, Liar Liar, Devil's Advocate, Pelican Brief, The Verdict, The Firm, a lot of the John Grisham ones, And Justice for All, Philadelphia, The Rainmaker, Aaron Brockovich. You've seen Aaron Brockovich.
I have seen Aaron.
Aaron Brockovich is number, I think it was like in the 20s here. Aaron Brockovich. It's number 9.
Number 9.
All right, so what did you make? Now, because you are a paralegal and you work in a law firm, so I would think that Aaron Brockovich would be one that really resonates with you and that you have very, very good feelings about, right?
I feel bad saying it, but no, I didn't really care for the movie.
Okay.
I just thought it was a little too dramatic and kind of overly done. I hate saying that because I think it's a true story, but...
Okay. Fair enough. Honest assessment with Carrie today for 5 minutes on a Friday. All right, so Philadelphia, Aaron Brockovich, The Verdict. The Verdict is one that was mentioned a couple of times on my page. The Verdict is one that my dad is really a fan of, and if we're eating dinner at my parents' house on a Sunday and my dad wants to show me a movie scene, a lot of times it's from The Verdict. He'll queue up something on YouTube and say, "Hey, let's watch this scene from The Verdict." Here's the truth: I haven't seen the whole movie, and every time I mention that to my dad, he is flabbergasted that a criminal defense lawyer would not be familiar with The Verdict.
What a disappointment! I
am apparently a disappointment to my dad. And one of my friends posted a scene from The Verdict on my Facebook page that is one of the most probably iconic scenes in all of legal film. But anyway, so check that out on my Facebook page if you see it. Let's see, The Verdict, Presumed Innocent. Never even heard of it.
Never heard of it.
But apparently it is the number 11 movie of all time. A legal film of all time. Never seen it. And A Few Good Men. You've seen A Few Good Men.
I believe I have. I know that I've seen most of it.
All right,
but
so
I think I've seen it all.
A Few Good Men has the most iconic criminal defense moment. Probably, not just criminal defense, but it's the most iconic courtroom moment in film. Was you can't handle the truth. Yeah. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. But it's a good movie about. That's a good one if you want to feel good about doing the right thing for people that are wrongfully accused. So that's a good one. Chicago. Apparently Chicago is a legal film. I was not aware of that. I thought that it was about like I don't know what I thought it was about.
Like, is that the Chicago that was like a Broadway play?
Yeah, but I guess that there's a criminal trial or something going on in Chicago, but
might have to do some more research.
I've never seen Chicago, so I wouldn't know. Reversal of Fortune from 1990. Never heard of it.
Nope.
In the Name of the Father, 1993.
Nope.
Never heard of it. A Civil Action I have heard of, but I haven't seen. Amistad from 1997. I have seen, but I did not think of this in the context of a legal film. I thought of it like, it's about slavery and
is it?
It's about the boat.
I've never seen it or heard of it.
Yeah. So, and Miracle on 34th Street, and you had a very, very profound reaction to that when we brought it up earlier.
I just said that I didn't like it. I mean, but I remember watching it like as a kid, and I didn't care for it.
Okay.
I might like it now. Probably not, but maybe.
So the two films that I wanted to talk about were My Cousin Vinny, and you touched on the reason why I think that people should watch it, and that is it shows the stress and anxiety that comes along with representing an innocent person that's accused of something very, very serious. And that can be very, very, very difficult. The other film that I think I actually like better, and it's my favorite lawyer film ever, is The Lincoln Lawyer with Matthew McConaughey, which you also watched leading up to this. And what were your thoughts on that before I go into it?
I really enjoyed it just as a movie in general. It was a good movie. It had some suspense. And, I did have the questions as to why is he representing this person that he knows is guilty. But it turned out, it was a really good movie.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. He had this obligation to represent him.
As between My Cousin Vinny and The Lincoln Lawyer, which one do you think was more like our day-to-day here?
I'd say The Lincoln Lawyer.
Yeah. I think that The Lincoln Lawyer is the most realistic legal film that I've ever seen. In terms of the way that he treats his clients, the way that he talks to his clients, the way that he talks to the courthouse staff. You remember at the end when the motorcycle gang stopped him and he said, this one's on me, and they ride off and his driver is like, well, why did you do that? He said, don't worry, they'll be back.
Repeat clients.
Yeah, repeat clients.
Yeah.
That happens more than you know. Where you'll give somebody a break, or you'll do something, you'll do a favor for a client now because you know that they're going to be back. I mean, that really does happen. There's some other stuff in that movie that really does happen in the real world. But something that you touched on was, unlike My Cousin Vinny, The Lincoln Lawyer is about, and spoiler alerts, The Lincoln Lawyer is about representing somebody that you know is guilty. And what I can tell you is that probably happens. I'm not throwing any of my clients under the bus or saying anything about anyone in particular.
Yeah.
That probably happens more often in criminal defense than the other way around. And the show brings to light some of the ethical and moral dilemmas that criminal defense attorneys may go through while trying to figure out what to do in those kind of cases. Mm-hmm. And that happens more often than you would think. So those are two movies that I think you need to watch for those reasons. One is about representing an innocent client. One is about representing a guilty client.
Yeah.
And I think that it gives you a good idea of those extremes, what it must be like to do that. So then we go into the TV shows. The list of TV shows, I've heard of a lot more of these. LA Law, have you ever seen it?
I haven't.
They say that's the number one TV show about lawyers, and I haven't seen it either. From 86 to 94. So I was just a young lad.
Yeah.
You were just a young little girl when that was going on. Some other ones that are old that we've heard of, Perry Mason, Matlock. Law and Order was brought up on my page. You ever watch? There's like a million Law and Order. So when they say Law and Order, I didn't know which one they were talking about. But apparently, Law and Order, the original, has been going on since 1990. But then there's also Law and Order Special Victims and Law and Order Criminal Intent and a lot of Law and Orders. I've never really gotten into the Law and Order ones, but I think that the Law and Order shows are more about like the prosecution side and like catching the bad guys, So those really don't. Those are not. I'm not their target audience. I'll put it that way. Ally McBeal. Did you ever watch that?
No, not really. It went off the air before I could get into it.
Okay. Yeah, that was popular about the time that I was starting high school. And then Boston Legal. I remember that, but I don't think that I ever watched it.
I never watched it.
Damages is one that is still going on.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of Damages? They say that that's one of the best ones. Uh-huh. Night Court. I think everybody remembers Night Court because it was just very, very popular, but I haven't really watched a whole lot of Night Court, but I've seen a lot of scenes from it, and
I thought I had heard something about it coming back, but
really,
I did.
I think one of the main characters recently died. Maybe that's what you heard.
Maybe.
Not that they were coming back, but that they're going for good.
Okay.
I don't know. Let's see. Judging Amy.
Never heard of it.
Never seen it. Jag I've heard of, but never watched. A lot of these shows, honestly, I have not really seen.
No.
Shark, never even heard of it.
No. Didn't last very long, apparently.
That's right. Law and Order, Criminal Intent, Matlock, Reasonable Doubt, Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, the Paper Chase. Anyway, so the list of TV shows was not as impressive to me as the list of. But what it did make me think of was that, and I didn't review this before I put the link out or let everybody know what we would be talking about. But the truth is, I haven't seen all of the great movies and TV shows about lawyers. So you need to tell me why I should watch any of these shows. And so my sister Allison says Suits, The Good Wife, both fantastic. So I watched the first maybe 2 seasons of Suits, and I was a big fan of it, but eventually I just kind of got tired of it. I don't know why, but it just, that kind of law doesn't really appeal to me anyway. Those, the corporate lawyers that work 80 hours a week. Is that what
that was about?
Yeah, corporate lawyers that work 80 hours a week, and in that kind of a just real high stress, fast-paced environment where everybody's yelling at one another and other stuff, like that's just not what I have no idea. And it was always a mystery to me why so many people in law school were gunning so hard and sleeping in the library every night to get those jobs. It's like, because I would have worked hard to avoid that.
Yeah.
Like if they were like, look, if you get C's in law school, you're going to have to do this for a living. I would have been like, okay, I'm going to get A's then. But you had to get A's to get those jobs, and some people wanted it. So anyway, what are some TV shows that you're aware of? Not the ones that we've prepared for. Any from this list, or any TV shows that you watched before now?
I haven't watched many of those. I have watched Law and Order, but again, that wasn't, to me, a lot of the episodes just kind of were the same thing. And you're right, it's from a prosecution point of view. I haven't ever seen Suits. Yeah, I'm kind of interested now because the Duchess is in it. The Good Wife I saw a few episodes of, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know why I didn't keep up with it, but it was pretty good.
One that someone brought up, I think it was Lisa, brought up How to Get Away with Murder. Did you ever see any of this?
I have not seen that.
I saw the first season of it, and I thought that it was pretty good. So that might be one that you want to watch. But I want to give 2 suggestions on well, let me tell you some suggestions that people in the comments had. Suits, The Good Wife, Goliath.
Oh, Goliath.
Goliath is one. I've been seeing ads for that on, is it Netflix or Amazon?
Amazon.
On Amazon, when you're watching a show on Amazon, Goliath will pop up.
Haven't seen it. Looks really good.
I think it's got Billy Bob Thornton.
It does.
So it's probably good. Night Court, Law and Order, Jag, Matlock, and How to Get Away with Murder were the ones that they brought up. But so I'm going to talk about 2, and one of them you've seen part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the first one that I want to recommend, and this is what I think is, now I don't want to overbuild this because I actually love the next one even more. Better Call Saul is one of not just the best lawyer shows, it's just one of the best shows that's on, period. And it is about a lawyer. If anybody watched Breaking Bad, the story about the meth dealers, or the meth cartels or whatever, their very colorful, hilarious defense attorney was a guy named Saul Goodman. And Better Call Saul is a flashback. It's a prequel to Breaking Bad, yeah. And it follows him from his early days as a lawyer. Just taking public defender clients or appointed clients, representing people for $200 or $300 here and there, to becoming a little bit more successful, like personal injury, a plaintiff's lawyer. He's dealing with his brother, who's a very successful attorney and a partner at a big business firm. But it follows him, and there's nothing particularly appealing about the kind of law that they're doing or about the legal issues there, but just the show itself, I think, is one of the most compelling dramas right now on television. Have you seen any of it?
Yeah, I've seen at least the first season, and Saul is just...
I didn't know you saw the first season. Why didn't you tell me this? I thought I asked you this, and you said you...
Because we started discussing things, and you told me to hold off on my opinions.
All right, never mind. Okay.
I liked him. He's colorful, and it's a different view of law shows.
Okay.
That's why I liked it. He was an interesting character.
He is such an interesting character, and he is flawed, and he is vulnerable. For sure. But he is there's something so endearing about him, and you root for him, and you really, really want him to do well. Bless his heart. So, Better Call Saul, watch it, because it'll make you feel, if nothing else, it'll make you feel good about lawyers. Right? You'll have a better opinion about lawyers. True. Okay, and then the show that we've prepared for, the last one, which I think is the best. So all of these things that we've talked about, representing innocent people, representing guilty people, showing vulnerability and problems, all of these things you're going to see in a show that none of you have ever heard of, but it's available on Amazon Prime. It's called Rake, R-A-K-E. They made... I think USA tried to do an American version of it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it was terrible. Do not watch the American version of Rake. Watch the Australian version of Rake. I think that it is the most realistic look into the life and psychology and philosophy of a criminal defense lawyer. So that's my take on it. What did you think after watching 2 episodes?
I've seen 2 episodes.
Okay. I don't know what she's going to say here, and so it's making me nervous because I feel like she's getting ready to embarrass me.
It's surprisingly funny. But you do see, it is good. It's a oddly good representation of attorneys and what they have to deal with and the type of clients that they have to deal with and the situations that they get put into or put themselves into. But I have enjoyed it so far.
One thing that you're going to find about this guy, so his name is Cleaver Green. Cleaver, like a meat cleaver. So what you're going to find about Cleaver is that he is not a good person by any conventional definition of a good person. He does drugs. He's a drug addict. He sleeps around. He has prostitutes. He's
a gambler.
He's a gambler. He lies. He cheats. He doesn't pay his taxes.
I don't think I've gotten to that.
I'm pretty sure that you remember in the first episode where he's in his tax hearing and he's talking about how there was water damage on his tax documents or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So, by any conventional definition of being a good person, Cleaver is not a good person.
No.
But what you're going to find in the way that it portrays him representing his clients, you're going to see that there's something about him that is good, and it almost redeems everything else about him. And the show will show you interesting parallels between stuff that's going on in his life and stuff that he is representing people for. So, for example, spoiler alert. I think episode 3 or 4, he represents somebody that's charged with bigamy. So he has multiple wives. And in that episode, you also know that you also see that Cleaver is kind of balancing several relationships at the same time as well. And so he is representing this person that is charged with the criminal version of the moral failing that he has. Something like that, okay? And you get to see it play out on the personal level, on the family level, and then all the way up to the social level with a trial with a jury of peers, that kind of, and how people think about that kind of thing. So I think that it's absolutely great. I thought that the show was canceled like 3 years ago, and I had watched all 3 seasons of it, and I was looking for it to start watching it again because I wanted Lauren to watch it with me, and I saw that there was another season of it. So wow, they started again. So I'm catching up on Rake so that I can watch the new season of it. So don't. I know I just spoiled episode 4 or 3 or whatever it is for you, but do not spoil season 4 for me if you catch up before I do. So anyway.
It's a few years old.
I think that it started around 2000, maybe 10. I think that they did 2010, 2012, 2014, or maybe 12, 14, and then 16, and then this year they're going to have another.
Oh wow!
So there's one season that has been released that I haven't seen yet, and then they're going to start another season this year. So it'll be the last season of it. But I'm going to provide a link for anybody to watch it that wants to. It's called Rake, Rake. The other movies that I recommend, My Cousin Vinny. A lot of you have already seen it, but I think that it's great. It is on the very, very short list of best criminal defense films ever. The Lincoln Lawyer, also on that very, very short list. Honorable mention goes to A Few Good Men, and it is probably the most popular and has the most iconic scene in all of criminal defense. And then again, my recommendations for TV show, Better Call Saul.
Definitely.
Which I think it's on A&E.
Yeah.
But you can probably watch it on Hulu or Netflix. And then number 1, Rake on Amazon Prime.
The Australian version.
The Australian version, not the American version. If you watch the American version, you're going to think I'm crazy because it's bad. But yeah, those are our recommendations for the best movies and TV shows that you can watch about lawyers. And I'm seeing, all right, so Dorothy says To Kill a Mockingbird. Dorothy missed the first couple minutes of this where I said, it is the ABA Journal's number 1 greatest legal film of all time. But I'm not going to watch it because it's from 1962, just like the Beatles. And I don't get it.
I'm not going to watch it either.
Everything that is more current is more interesting than a movie from 1962. I already read the book, and I'm not going to watch the movie.
Never read the book, but I'm not going to.
Okay. All right. If y'all have any other suggestions or anything else, anything that we talked about that we said that we hadn't watched and you think that we should watch it, leave a comment down below. If you have other topics or anything that you'd like to see us discuss, if you want Carrie to come back, let us know that you were happy with the way that she performed today. But not too much tittering and laughing today.
I thought it was going to be more.
Yeah, well...
I surprised myself. I did good.
We did a good job. Thanks. I don't know why 14 people have stayed this long. I bet that we're going on like 20 minutes now.
Probably.
So, anyway, thanks y'all for watching. And if anybody gets in trouble, give us a call. You're going to talk to Carrie. She's the one that answered the phone. Mm-hmm. And hopefully I'll be here so I can help you out too. All right. Thanks. Bye.